Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphones are your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
TJ, what is up? Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Tigers Untapped. TJ, how was your Labor Day weekend? We're in studio, but we're not really in studio, if you guys can tell, due to the holiday weekend.
We're like kind of in studio.
TJ was playing car garage guy up underneath his vehicle, replacing brakes. Is that what you did yesterday?
Yeah, replacing brakes and rotors on mine and my wife's car. We both needed it, so
what a manly thing to do on your Labor Day.
Yeah, someone's got to do it. Trey, today we are trying out Memphis-made Goner Brow.
Goner Brow. I don't even know how to say this Pilsner. How do you say that? Keef? Veek? Maybe the K's got to be silent, right?
Yeah, you got me on that one. I really don't know. Not gonna
Pardon my French. Don't know how to say that.
It's a Kveik Pilsner. Kveik Pilsner? I don't know. Goner Brow, Memphis made.
Got to think that K's silent.
Get weird.
Timothy, week 1 has come and it is gone. What a night at Simmons Bank. Shout out to everybody that came out to the Bluff City tailgate. It was awesome to see some of you guys come out there, get a free beer, get a koozie, a sticker. Looking forward to the next one. I think what we're doing is at Boise State. We're having the
Yep.
We're gonna have the next one.
Yep.
So looking forward to that. Come out. We had free food, free beverage. Get to hang out. Kenny was there. TJ, myself. It was a good time.
Speaking of the game, what a game, right?
I'm gonna say this right off the top. Yeah, one, it was a great night. That breeze, the sunset, the breeze was going. It was not too hot. Great night to be in the bowl. They did what they had to do. We set the line last week because one hadn't come out. It did come out, I think, late Friday at 48.5, but I set it at 42.5. Tej, we won by 42. It was a heck of a line by me. So Vegas, if you're listening, we know that you are. If you need a lines guy, at least just for Memphis, hit me up.
What was your score projection? Do you remember?
I believe on the pod I said 63-7, which isn't terrible. That's just a touchdown wrong either way, right?
Sure.
56-14. So if we had scored the late touchdown instead of them, I'm right on the money. I will say this. How funny was it? So TJ and I have a Pick'em group. We've been doing this for, when did we start? 2017?
17, yeah.
But I got the idea from another buddy where we've got a group. Everybody puts in $2 every week to a pot, and you pick the score of the Memphis game. You have to get it exactly right. If you get it right, you win the pot of money. The pot has not been won since the 2019 Houston game. So we are currently sitting at almost $1,500 in the pot.
Yeah.
We had a buddy who picked 56-7 at his final score. So that last scoop and score with a minute left was an absolute heartbreaker for him. If you guys were sitting in section 117 and you saw a group of gentlemen on the front row celebrating that touchdown wearing Memphis attire, it's because the pot lives to see another day and we've got a chance to win it.
I think they covered, right?
Bethune, if you were to bet Bethune to cover there, that was also a very important play for those of you that took Bethune.
Oh man, what a wild!
Funny how that works. The pot has been lost in a variety of fashions. I think even when we won it, it was like a punt return. Something happened late in that Houston game that caused our buddy Mitch to win. But you have that scoop and score at the very end right there for him to lose. I've lost it I know once for a fact by literally 1 point. There's been other I think
close
back when
calls.
Norvell was here, he went for 2 for literally no reason whatsoever in a game, and it cost somebody the pot. Like, it's been absurd.
Yeah, I think I said 55-10. And so when we went for that 2-point conversion, I was like, what?
Oh yeah. See, that
Like
was
why
it.
why did we even go
Like,
for the 2?
yeah, most of the group thought they were out, and then that 2 brought them back in. Me being one, I was out. We kicked 2 field goals, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And I throw a field goal in there, my official pick. But then you go for 2, you get the 28-7, and hey, all of a sudden I'm back in it. If we'd gone for 2 and then not gotten it, like literally everybody would have been out. Really screwing things up there.
Enough about our degenerate gambling score predictions. Let's talk about the game, because I think there's a lot you could take away from it other than the fact that it was 56-14. We're talking a 400-yard swing.
I'm going to throw this on you. Was that opening drive the best drive of the Ryan Silverfield era? I mean, flawless.
Yeah, I'm gonna say so, because
there wasn't an incompletion. There wasn't a loss of yardage in any way. We just rolled right down the field and put 7 points on them. I mean, scripted. You couldn't have written it up any better.
Yeah, and he used. I bet if you would ask, they probably would have wanted to use more time, just because that's how some people are built. But other than that, I mean, I think it was perfect. Like, I don't know how you could have complained. You had all the completions. You had
I don't know.
Scoring. It was chunk play, chunk play, chunk play. I mean,
it was, 6 plays, 73 yards, 2.5 minutes. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that for me. I like that.
It got kind of dicey. I don't know if you remember, what play was it? Like, it was the second possession where it ended. I think it resulted in a field goal as opposed to a touchdown. Everyone was
we had the holding call. Watson scored, if you remember, but he got called back for holding. And then, Seth Morgan had to come out and kick his first field goal of the year, 45-yarder though. Not bad for the first time out there in Simmons Bank kicking a field goal. I'll take it. Seth Morgan, what do you have? Two field goals the other night, and ended up being special teams player of the week. So 2 of 2, he had a 45-yarder, a 26-yarder, and then he was I think 6 of 6 on PATs, if that's right.
Yep.
So
that makes sense.
Not a bad debut for Seth. We might be back to kicker you, Tej.
I mean,
you had Gotti there releasing the Tigs. Maybe that's what it was. Seth,
were we ever
Gotti
not
in there?
Kicker you though?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, the year the Joe Doyle rules had
you had an injury.
Doesn't matter.
That resulted in a punter being the kicker.
Well,
I don't think you lose it because of that 1 year.
Well,
I think you lose it. I don't think you lose it.
Cost us games. Well, we're back in the right spot.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know what you really want to talk about in terms of looking back on that game. Like, yes, it was an FCS team. You went out, you did what you were supposed to. Everyone looked good, except maybe Seth. I think there's some diciness there on what you want to call. A couple of them sailing a little high, but
yeah,
he still was fine.
We saw some of that last year, right? With just balls kind of floating on him, or him just throwing them a little high. I mean, it wasn't an awful night, right? 27 of 36, 335, 2 tutties, 75% completion.
Though.
But those two, the first one was bad. The tip pass, defensive lineman. I mean, a little bit of that is luck. It pops straight up in the air, and he's able to find it. Heck of a play by that young man. And then to scramble 70 yards like he did, juking out Watson and Seth to get into the end zone.
Yeah.
That was a bad throw. Poor decision. I mean, you are trying to just get a screen there to Watson, but you got to give it a little more oomph on there. Right. The second one, I don't know that I want to blame him. I don't know that was him. It hit. Who did he throw it to?
The interception.
It wasn't Christian Carter. It hit right off of somebody's hands. I think it was.
Was it not Carter?
Maybe it was Carter. It was either Carter or Bussy, whatever.
Bussy, I think. Right?
I mean, it hit him right off the hands. Yeah. Sure, it was a little high, but he got up there. I mean, the ball was catchable. And
Yeah.
I guess, it goes back to Seth throwing it a little bit high, so it does kind of really fall on him, but it wasn't like he made a terrible read and just threw it straight to the defense kind of thing. If there's not a deflection, it's probably not picked off. And then that very first one that took the craziest hop off the turf and went straight up into the air was just like, I mean, realistically, he almost really, threw like 3 picks basically.
And they almost caught. Yeah, it was Bussy, whatever. What is this guy's name? Bussy, Marcelo Bussy.
I've heard it both ways.
This is like the Kofi Coffee situation.
Yeah. Speaking
people kept calling him Kofi, and it was Coffee the entire time.
King Coffee switching to defense may be one of my favorite positional switches that's happened recently. He looked good. He should. I feel like he should have been playing defense the entire. He signed as a DB, and then they moved him to kind of running back or that Tony Pollard-esque, where he was kind of supposed to play out of the backfield, but maybe line up out there in the slot. He looked good in that. What do they calling that? What are they calling that spot that he and Davion are playing?
That's the star position. Yeah.
Yeah, he had the sack. He had a couple other good hits. I mean, he's flying all over the place.
Yeah, it looks like he had 4 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, and a quarterback hurry. So, I mean, in terms of production, arguably the second best stat line. I mean, I don't know what else you want to.
Yeah, I mean,
put out there.
The defense altogether was just dominant, and I know I say it a little bit as a joking matter, but the reality of it is like. We are literally leading the country in yards given up. I mean, we did not give up 100. We are the only team in college football that did not give up 100 yards of offense. And look, I get it. We played Bethune-Cookman in FCS school, absolutely overmatched. But we're not the only team that played somebody of that caliber.
Sure.
Right? Like, so it's still, to a degree, I would say very impressive that we did not give up 100 yards. Not a single point, obviously. The 14 points were scored or given up by the offense, which I think I texted you and our buddy Charlie this afterwards. Like, if I was Matt Barnes, that's very frustrating because you feel like your defense played so well. You should have a shutout. And then those 4, it's kind of like the fantasy thing, right? When you draft a defense and a pick six happens, or whatever it may be, there's a scoop and score off of a fumble, and then it counts against the defense. And I'm just like, can we not fix that in fantasy? Because the defense didn't give up any points.
So we're talking about this. Like, yes, it is Bethune, and they are FCS, but like teams lose those games. Not all the time, but it feels like every now and then, like Florida State lost to
Jacksonville State.
I
mean, it was Norvell.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Wasn't that his first year? I mean,
I think
it happened.
Yeah. No, second year was 21.
Well, yeah, but obviously
and Washington lost to Montana.
Right. They're probably those FCS schools are in a better sport than what Bethune is in right now. Right.
Course.
But
of course.
I don't even know, who did Oregon play?
Portland State, maybe?
Yeah, 81-7. And even Oregon in that game gave up over 100 yards offensively, right? Like, they give up 200 total yards, which is still impressive. I mean, to give up 91 total yards. And I think we were looking at it. You asked me at one point, don't look at the scoreboard. How many passing yards do they have? And I guessed, I don't know, what I say, 22?
Yeah.
And at that point in time, we were almost to halftime and they had 1 passing yard. I mean, the defense played lights out.
They played great. Yeah, they played great. I think that's something we can actually see carry on. And it's not because, and this kind of plays into the next part. So what I'll say is, do you want to tie up anything with Arkansas State first before I go that way? I mean, who stood out to you? I guess let's do it this way.
Well, one defensively is Andres Fox at that buck position behind Jalen. I mean, heck of a game. I think they even, the team and named him defensive player of the game. Right? He led the team in tackles. What do you have? 5?
Yeah.
He had
a
a
Tackle
sack,
for a
one and a
loss.
half tackles for a loss, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery. Like, I mean, I know we saw him listed in the 2D, but we talked about it. That's a guy that kind of quietly joined the team. There wasn't a whole lot of like hoo-ha
Sure.
behind, hey, look, we got this Fox dude, 6-year player, started at Stanford's been at UNLV. Like, I was pretty surprised at what he was able to bring the other night. They talked about bringing him in to kind of ensure that Jalen was fresh going into the fourth quarters. But you're getting a little bit more out of that than just making sure that Jalen is fresh in the fourth quarter if he's able to be that productive when he's out there.
Yeah, it's not like you're just bringing in another body, right?
Yeah.
It's not that type of thing. You're
He's not
bringing
just
in a
out there
guy who was
taking up
a
space. He's
he was a
making
top
plays,
300
obviously.
recruit. Like, I mean, he was clearly talented. He can, like, yes, he plays the buck, which is kind of like that stand-up DN, but even on
Yeah.
passing downs, like, he is an actual put your hand in the dirt rusher off the edge as well. So we saw him do a couple of different things. I think defensively, he definitely stood out. That is someone I was going to consider. Like Kofi, Coffee, whatever your name
Yeah,
is.
I mean,
think
he
it's
was
Coffee.
Yeah, it's Coffee. He was right there. He was second leading tackler with 4, had a sack, had a tackle for a loss, QB hurry, like you mentioned earlier. Like Chandler Martin. There were several guys defensively that I felt like really stuck out the other night. Jalen Joyner had a sack and a tackle for a loss. Like Whitlow had a tackle for a loss.
I know he
Simeon.
wasn't tested much, but I thought Cam Smith had a really good game. Obviously, they weren't ripping him downfield, not really having the chance to. But I still think Cam Smith had a pretty good game. Starting at free safety now, kind of an interesting situation there, considering he's bounced around on the field a couple different places. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
And then I will say from the secondary as well, like DJ Bell had a series early on where he looked really, really good. Had a tackle for a loss on a screenplay and then a pass breakup. We got to see Julian Barnett had a big pass breakup on a third down, in the third quarter, I think that it was. So just all around, I was pretty pleased with what I saw defensively. What about offensively? Anybody or anything stick out to you offensively from the other night?
Pick a running back, right?
Hey,
Sutton
let's
Smith.
celebrate the fact that after nearly 2 years of college football being played in Memphis, we finally had a 100-yard rusher. Shout out to Sutton for getting the job done. It's about damn time. The last time it happened was in 2021 when BT ran for almost 200 yards at Arkansas State. So literally almost exactly 2 years ago. That's absurd to even think about.
Yeah. And honestly, it could have been Sutton. It could have been Blake Watson. It didn't matter. Whoever they were going to feed was going to get it because Blake Watson was 10 carries, 75 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. At one point, he had 6 carries and 3 tutties in the first half. All 3 of those touchdowns came in the first half. I mean, he and Sutton both feel like they could be just the primary back themselves. So I think we were very fortunate in the fact that we have them to be able to split. I mean, I think even Silverfeld himself had said, like, both of those guys could be first through third down backs. Right? Like, and then we didn't even mention it. Like, Duck wasn't even out there. Didn't even dress out.
But to say we didn't get Ducker or Skates. Neither Ducker nor Skates played.
Yeah.
So you weren't even at 100% on offense, technically. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out with Arkansas State.
And I think those are both, I think they were just more precautionary, minor. I think it came out today. Silverfield said they're day to day. And then a guy we haven't talked about, you tweeted about it, Big Kobe Drake. He looked great too.
Yeah.
I mean, in the screen game, in the return game, I know he got banged up on one of the punt returns, but I think that's also more of just kind of a little knick-knack thing. So I think those 3 guys will be fine. Hopefully suited up this weekend. But I don't know about you. I know Blake Mayfield tweeted it. I had the same feeling. I would not be surprised to see Kobe take one back to the house this year on a punt return. He almost did it the other night. I mean, he had that one that he took, 35, 40 yards all the way down inside the 20. But I'm going to give him credit. He's faster and shiftier than I was given. I mean, we didn't see him a whole lot return last year. It was always fair catches, but
sure.
pleasantly surprised with Kobe's return game.
Yeah, and if for some reason Kobe is not able to go, I think we're gonna get Blankumsey this week. So
Talk
he
about
looked
another
awesome as well.
shifty
So
guy. Sheesh.
sign me up, right? I mean, he had what, 6 targets? No, excuse me. Yeah, 6 targets, 6 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdown. I think
You
it
know
was
how
just good
good
to
say
see
that.
guys
Can you
catch the
say that?
ball.
Can you say that again?
Six
6 tar-
targets,
and how many
catches.
catches? Gosh, that is so good.
Yeah,
You know,
I
that's
mean,
what we missed last year. Week 1 last year, you just said, "Old Stonehands, 6 targets, 3 catches." That's good to not see guys dropping the football.
well, yeah, I mean, it was nice seeing Blake Watson used in the passing game. He had 5 catches. Rock Taylor looked good.
He
Six
did.
catches, 78 yards. It was good to see him kind of maybe build towards something. Like, obviously, he wasn't like the leading receiver, but he had 6 catches, 78 yards. That's good. Towski Dove was able to get in there and get explosive plays.
Let me throw this at you. So in the official stats, 8 different guys had a reception, but it's actually 9. Do you know who caught a pass that doesn't get counted in the official stat book?
Who caught a pass that doesn't get caught?
It's not counted in the stats officially.
No, who?
Lansfear caught the 2-point conversion, but it's not, for some reason, it doesn't count as a reception.
Yeah.
Why does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good one. I was expecting to see him used more, but I guess this is one thing that we may have to forget about or alter the way we think about it, right? After having Priestcorn, that former tight end that we don't say the name of, apparently. He was a high catch guy, right? I think he was like 6 catches a game kind of situation.
And also, I think a lot of that was like safety blanket-esque, right? Like,
yeah, I think he kind of had to be that.
right.
And with this team,
year,
I'm not.
You don't. I think we're going the same point. Like, I don't know that you need that.
Sure.
You have guys capable all over the field. Like, I think he's going through his read. I mean, even Kenny, I think, said it when we talked about it after the game. Like, one thing that he noticed, I noticed it too. Seth did not take off out of the pocket. And granted, again, it's Bethune-Cookman. It's an FCS school. So they're not getting as much pressure as, say, we may see from like an SMU or a Tulane or whatever. But it was good. I think officially he had 3 rushes, maybe. And yeah, 3 rushes. And I know one for sure, maybe 2 of those were designed.
Yeah.
The other one was a true scramble.
Yeah. I basically what I was just going to say is that the wide receiver group is so good that I'm not even confident we're going to have this huge year from
Yeah.
I'm going blank on his name now.
Lansfear.
Thank you. We could see a very Joey-esque type of year.
Yeah, I mean,
something where it's only 300 yards versus the.
I think they're going to use him. Don't get me. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously they have stuff in the playbook to go to him. They used it on the 2-point conversion. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna. And this is no knock against Lansfear, but they've got other playmakers they're trying to get the ball to first,
Sure.
From both the backfield and lined up on the outside. Like, he doesn't need to be, and he's not that option.
Sure. Which I think is a good thing. And I think you strategically use someone of his size. In our superlatives preseason, I said that it's 4th and 5. Who are you going to go to? And I think it's
Sutton.
Lansfear. I think it'll be Lansfear. I think
they're going to
it
run
was
that
just
same
one game.
2-point conversion play they ran the other night.
Yeah, I think it was just
5 yards.
one game. We're going to see him utilized more. And
I
it
mean,
could be against Arkansas State, honestly.
Right. I think, and it's also another, like, every game, Sutton was kind of Sutton, and I mean, you want to say Demir maybe were like the 2 primary guys. And really, Demir didn't have it. He had the 47-yard touchdown catch, I think, which really was like the only time we threw the ball down the field.
Sure.
The other night, they weren't really like trying to take the top off or take deep shots. I think every week you're probably going to have like, this week it could be Watson, who had a great game the other night, but they kind of limited him in the second half to give Sutton the ball. It could be Watson and Toski that have huge games this week or something. And then the next week it could be Duck and it could be Rock, like I think they're just capable of that, where night in, night out, it could be, a guy or two other guys that have big nights. It's not, you're always relying on the same two or same guy, period.
That was one thing that you mentioned the downfield passing. One of the things I saw on Twitter where people were complaining, were saying like, I wanted to see more downfield attacking. And what we learned in the post-game show was that Bethune was basically playing so deep off everybody. They were giving up stuff underneath. So we were just kind of playing that short vertical. Yeah, you're just kind of playing the short game and just saying, okay, you're going to give me 5 yards of catch. Let's have it. And then let my playmakers get in space and make a play. So, sometimes you don't have to force a ball downfield, right? I mean, we talked about the Chowski Dove catch, and that in itself was a big play, but I mean, you don't always have to go downfield. Norvell doesn't always go downfield.
Yeah. All right, TJ, let's wrap up from Bethune. Anything concerning? We've kind of talked about the picks that Seth threw, some high balls. Anything else that you saw Saturday that you're like, man, they need to get that figured out?
No, I don't think so, man. Especially nothing on defense. I think we looked credible on defense. The one thing that I think would perhaps concern me is just we're still seeing Seth kind of float some passes and not really settling down. That's more nitpicking than anything. Like, you don't want to see your quarterback, your highly sought quarterback, playing Bethune-Cookman and throwing 2 interceptions, right?
Yeah.
I think it just, for optics, it's not a great look, right? You watch the game, so you know that those plays didn't actually mean anything in the grand scheme of things. But you just don't want to have it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's turnovers in general. You obviously had 3, 2 of which directly led. They were taken back. So you had the pick 6 and the scoop and score. Like, you're not going to be able to do that playing a much better team. You're going to have to take care of the football. I don't think it was terribly concerning. They looked better. The offensive line is still a little meh, if you will. I mean, they didn't look dominant against a Bethune-Cookman team that should have been really just overpowered. And some of that they alluded to in the post game was, they tried to look at tape from a couple of years ago from their defensive coordinator and different schemes that he ran. So they came out thinking it's going to be more of a 4-down front, and they came out in a lot of bear 46, like had much more up front, and they just weren't anticipating that. They hadn't prepped for that. And again, some may say, well, that, that's an excuse, but I think it definitely got better throughout the game. They were opening up holes. Seth, again, we mentioned it. He didn't have to take off. He took some hits, but he wasn't really getting like pressured like we've kind of seen previously. So if that was something, again, that's maybe being nitpicky, but maybe not, given kind of what we've seen the last couple of years with the offensive line. So I think there's still some room to improve, but overall, I think it was I think Silverfield gave it a B-. I think that, given 56-14, but they went out and did what they needed to do, to me. You beat the brakes off of a team that you should beat the brakes off of, and you looked very good.
Exactly.
All right. Let's take a break. When we get back, we'll preview the Paint Bucket Bowl as we head over to Jones Boogie. We'll be right back.
Yo.
Bluff City Media and Bluff City NIL are proud partners of Coaching for Literacy, a Memphis nonprofit using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. When you donate to Bluff City NIL through Coaching for Literacy, your gift is 100% tax deductible. This partnership is a win-win-win. Tiger student athletes win in the NIL landscape, Coaching for Literacy wins by engaging Tiger student athletes in this monumental cause. And most importantly, elementary students in Memphis receive support to become strong readers. To donate today, visit coachingforliteracy.org/bluff-city.
Coach Prime had smoke for any and everyone that wanted some of it after the game, too. Do you believe? Do you believe that? Do you believe?
Hey, I love it.
Oh, love it.
And that's him. Like, he's acting like himself. That's how he's always been.
Man, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. I'm loving every moment of it, man. Coach Prime kept receipts. I don't know who that poor lady was. I'm really surprised he didn't get it this morning, too, man, because, you know, whenever guys are kind of mean to a lady reporter, it hits a little different. He was being a little mean to that lady, for sure, man. He was getting her ass for sure. So I'm surprised nobody really got him after his rant. He was going off for sure, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. It's so fun. It's so awesome to see him do what he's doing, man, for sure. He's the type of guy that can come in and uproot a lot of shit that's been going on in college football. He's the kind of guy that can make the Nick Sabans be like, all right, you know what I mean, for real.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
The last time they had players with that level of shiftiness, just it's a different look, you know, like it's a different kind of movement that Blake Watson and Sutton Smith have that we haven't seen in Memphis since Kenny. Like, and the dynamic ability that adds is huge, because not only can you use them between the tackles, outside the tackles, but they've both shown that they can be effective receivers. I think Blake had 5 catches for like 37 yards in this game on top of his 75 rushing yards.
3 touchdowns in the first half, yeah.
Right. So we've been high on this backfield saying that they have weapons. Still, you know, this took that to the next level.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, what's up? Welcome back. TJ, week 2. We're headed to the Boogie of Jones Boogie, the Paint Bucket Bowl. 61st matchup. The Tigs have won, I believe it's the last 4 meetings. But Arkansas State has beat the spread the last 3 matchups. And have you seen the line for Saturday?
Yeah.
In, Arkansas State Red Wolf territory.
That's scary,
Minus
man.
21.5. I mean, look, I know that they just got absolutely obliterated in Norman by Oklahoma. 73-0. They are, TJ, get this, 2, count them, 1, 2 FBS collegiate football teams did not score a single point. Arkansas State was 1. The other, I don't know that I'm even counting it because it's their first year of FBS football, and they played a real team in BYU with Sam Houston State. Arkansas State, Butch Jones was crying on the sidelines.
Was he actually crying, though?
You're in a bad spot. I mean, something in his eye, whatever. I don't know. But he had his players rubbing his back over there. 73-0. You couldn't have gotten even a field goal.
Well, they tried.
What was the line on that game? Anybody know?
35.
35-0. They literally doubled it up. They almost covered the line in the first quarter. It was 28-0 after 1. I don't even know what to take away. I mean, they got what? JT Shrout, former Tennessee Volunteer, just transferred. Deion kicked him out of there from Colorado. Went 12 of 26 for a $148, 46% completion. Their leading rusher, Timothy, 3 carries for 11 yards. His long was 8 yards. And that was their backup Jackson Daly quarterback. Zach Wallace, who I think is their starting running back, but he got the most carries, 7 carries for 10 total yards, 1.4 yards a carry. They played some bad football this weekend. And Butch's seat, I'm honestly surprised that he still has a seat after that showing. I mean, you're in year 3 now, and it feels like they've gotten worse every year. Despite the fact that he's able to bring in, I mean, P5 transfers at that, but hitting the portal hard, like, they just are not a good football team.
Yeah, I think that's actually the surprising thing is that the fact that Butch has been able to pull in guy after guy, like maybe not all P5 guys, but even if you have a guy leaving, let's say UCF to come to Arkansas State, like that's a bigger jump, right? And
Yeah.
it's not working there. I don't get it. It's got to be Butch, right? I mean, I think it's the only thing that makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're a bad football team. I mean, you talked about this before we started. Dylan Gabriel, who somehow had not a clue how he still has eligibility, is still there. 19 of 22 for 308 and 2 touchdowns. My guy completed nearly 90% of his passes. And then Jackson Arnold, their backup, 100%. 11 and 11, 115 yards and a tutty. I mean, did they play with any DBs the other day?
That's unfortunate.
I mean, between 2 quarterbacks, you're talking about 95% of the passes were completed. That's absurd.
Did you watch any of the game?
Why would I do that? Don't need to.
Yeah.
Have no interest. I mean, that looks like what you used to do in college when you had Whitey McLightning or whatever for NCAA football 14 and you played on JV settings. You walk in TJ's room.
Played on JV
77-0 after the first half. TJ's onside kicking going for 2. 1,000 yards at halftime. That's what it felt like.
I mean, obviously, let's get it out in the open. Oklahoma is just a different breed of talent.
Are they that different, though? I mean,
yeah, I think so. I think if you were to put anyone,
I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't have covered the 35, but I'm like, it could have been 73-24. You could have put something up there. I mean, surely after they were up 42-0, they 49-0, they put in some second and third string guys, and you still couldn't muster up anything.
Well, they weren't able to move the ball. And
I'm talking myself into taking this 21.5 now.
I am definitely taking the Arkansas State.
I was very scared of it, but now that I've looked at this, I'm just.
Well, I mean, let's look at it. They moved
23 rushes for 48 yards, TJ.
They got behind so quickly. Of course, they weren't running the ball that often. You're behind. Like,
I'm just saying, you got 2 yards a carry. Did you see our defense the other night?
They also missed 2 field goals. They fumbled. They couldn't convert on 4th down. I mean, there were a couple things that were really just not working against them. And I'm not trying to give them a break, but I do think that the game, and I'm agreeing with you, should have been a little bit better than.
So you're saying with the 2 missed field goals, it should have been 73-6 at the. Okay.
Yeah. No, you could tell things just kind of fell apart. Right. It just never seemed like it was going to go the Red Wolves' way, which we knew going into it. Right. No one expected it to be a close game.
Oh, I didn't think. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I thought going into the third quarter it was going to be a 2-score game or anything like that. But 73-0 was just.
Yeah.
That's
not great.
Not
great at all.
All right. So you've already said it. You think that 21.5 is too many. We haven't covered the last 3. It feels I'm going to be honest. I thought it was going to be in the 12-14-ish range, probably based off that, but to see 21.5 and on the road, I don't know that I trust it.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Memphis has not fared well on the road. and 21.5
Well, we
is a
haven't
lot.
fared well in general just against the spread, my man. Shoot, we didn't.
I don't care about
as
the
well
spread.
as well as we played Saturday. We didn't beat the spread.
That's
Didn't
why
cover.
I don't care about the spread. It doesn't matter, right? As long as you win. But I do think this is a game that Memphis should absolutely try to win by 21.5.
Here, I'll tell you right here. Against the spread, Silverfield on the road as a favorite is 1-5 against the spread. That one being at Navy last year, we covered and won. So,
yeah, not worried about it. I do think that the Tigers will probably win this one decently well.
I will feel good about somewhere between 14 and 21 point. You win by 17, I'm good.
17 is the number I have it at.
Yeah. I mean, I think might be upset about that at all.
It's a much easier number. Like 21.5 is a lot, right? That's 3 touchdowns and a field goal or a 4th touchdown, which is just and I get that Arkansas State didn't look good, but I don't think Memphis is what do we say the spread Oklahoma Arkansas State was it 35?
35. Yeah. So 14 points.
So, yeah, are you 2 touchdowns not as good as Oklahoma? I don't know how to word that, but it seems like a lot of points, honestly.
We're also going to find out what kind of team Arkansas State really is and if Butch has lost that locker room after that or not. I mean, if they come out, there's one of two ways. They come out and we obliterate them just like Oklahoma did. Maybe not to the effect of 73-0, but 49-10 or something.
Yeah.
Or they come out with a real chip on their shoulder, embarrassed after last week, and try to throw a heck of a game up. And I would hate this, but it ends up being another like 49-45 or something.
I don't think it's going to be anything like that.
I don't think it is either. I just know that we've seen that, especially going over into Jonesboro before.
Sure.
And it's a rivalry game. I mean, I know we've played them like 3rd most in our history, and I think they've played us the most of anyone they've ever played, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think the previous games had more to do about who was playing quarterback then versus now. I am not afraid of JT Trout by any means. I just don't think he's good. Yeah. He hasn't been good anywhere he's been. Like,
I mean, I think
kind of just is what he is, man.
In his career, thrown more picks than touchdowns.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
I would be shocked. No, I don't know, but it feels like
it's very close. It's definitely at least 50-50.
Yeah, it feels like it. He was not good at Colorado. He wasn't good at Tennessee. So I guess go to Arkansas State where you're going to get a chance.
He didn't throw a tutty last week.
Yeah, and it's more than just Trout. So I don't want to put it all on Trout.
Career-wise, Timothy, he's thrown 12 tutties and 11 interceptions.
Wow.
Over 4 years. Oh. All right, what do you want to see out of the Tigs on Saturday down there in Jonesboro? It's a 6 p.m., is that right? ESPN Plus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's their cute little waterfall stadium called?
Jonesboro Stadium? I don't know.
That's not
Red Wolf Stadium? I don't know. For me,
Centennial Bank.
I want to continue.
Stadium. I knew that's what
Centennial
it was.
Bank. Yeah.
You like it over there, don't you?
Yeah,
you like
it's nice. Yeah, I mean, it's
a good little stadium.
Nice little stadium, man. It's like an advanced high school stadium, probably like a small Texas high school stadium, really. But it's nice. I will give them
such a backhanded compliment, Timothy.
Well, if anyone who's ever been,
stadium.
Well, for anyone who's ever been, you would know. I mean, it's got like the aluminum bleachers, like.
Sounds
kind
like
of is what it is. The home side's actually is kind of nice. But...
It's been a long time since I've been over there. I have not been over there since 2004 or 5, maybe. It's the last time I was there.
Yeah, it's nice. For me, I want to see the offensive line / the offense continue to run the ball. Like I need to see continued progression.
I would love back-to-back 100-yard rushers, and this time against a FBS school would be great. Granted, you're talking about a team that just gave up over 600 yards of offense and 73 points, but
that's going to get written off immediately.
I would like to see that continue. I'm there with you. Offensively, taking care of the ball, please.
Yep.
Let's take care of it. Defensively, I want to see us getting after JT, and I want to see a couple more forced turnovers. Obviously, we had the fumble recovery the other night, but like, give me a pick. Give me 2 picks Saturday. As well as they played, I feel like that was the one piece that was maybe lacking defensively, was creating takeaways.
Yeah, they didn't really have the opportunity to at the same time, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very curious to know how much of the offense and defense were really rolled out versus Bethune.
I mean, that's all right. And you talked about it a little bit, like seeing it on Twitter, and we saw some of it of people kind of complaining about play calling. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think the play calling was terrible the other night. No. They're not going to come out and open up the freaking playbook against Bethune-Cookman. And they probably are not going to do it this week either. Like, they're going to do what's going to work and be successful for them to win the football game. There's no reason to come out and be super flashy and show off. I mean, you've got a lot of new weapons. Like, let's not just totally unleash all of them at once.
I don't know. I do think that we will get a little bit more in this game.
Oh, I think you'll get more, but I'm just saying it's not going to be like what we're going to be seeing against Tulane, say, or maybe even Missouri in 2 weeks. Like, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah. I guess from a defensive standpoint, I want to see them handle Jaquez Cross and contain him and not let him break away, because he is actually talented. So that's someone that could definitely hurt us.
I know you're a big tight ends guy. It's like they got Miller McCrumbry over there. Had 1 catch for 12 yards last week on 1 target. Not a big guy, though, only 6'3", 225. And then second, they got Emmanuel Stevenson at tight end. They don't have big tight ends like that. What was that guy's name last year? Traore?
Seydou Traore.
So feel a little bit better than I did about the tight end spot when we played the Red Wolves last year.
If you look at preseason all Sun Belt team, Arkansas State had 1 guy mentioned.
The only one I've seen within Phil still listed him on 4th team at that was their starting center.
Oh, I got Dominic Zavada, the kicker. Was
wow.
listed
I didn't even
preseason all Sun Belt. And
well,
that just went 0 for 2.
I was gonna say that's
Oklahoma.
Probably out the window after you told me they missed 2 field goals the other day. So yeah.
So that's supposed to be the guy for him, right?
Not
Mr. Consistent. 44 and 43.
Not a strong start to an all Sun Belt team campaign there for my guy.
You definitely want to see the Tigers handle them, man. Look they were picked to finish 6th in the West Division, which would put them over UL Monroe, Old Dominion, and technically they had more votes than Georgia State, so they would be voted over Georgia State as well.
So you're talking 6 out of 7 teams in the West?
Yeah, 6 out of 17 or 14, or excuse me, 10th out of 14.
Out of 14. Teams.
Not very good.
Yeah, we got to manhandle them. All right, let's get to each first tutty Saturday night. I don't think either one of us got it the other day. Or did you say Watson? No, you said Lanphier.
I said Lanphier. I'm going to go back to Lanphier, even though it seems like Blake Watson is the answer.
Yeah, I think it's got to be. I'm going, well.
Keep you on your toes.
I'm going to throw it out there and say Skates. Skates plays, and we get a deep ball early to Skates. Open up the scoring.
I'd love that. It's going to be Tove or someone now.
Yeah, probably. We hadn't even talked about Dove. Really. He looks like a freaking creative player. With the J1s he's wearing, the sleeves, the wristbands. He's big. He's a big dude. And he's number 1, which is what creative players always start at, is number 1 with the last name player. All right, give me your offensive MVP.
I'm going to say probably Blake Watson, honestly.
It feels that way. I don't
Well-
think he's going to be as limited. Feel like, you know, I
Exactly.
think he only got like 1 or 2 carries in the second half the other night. That's a good pick.
Yeah, 10 carries, 75 yards. I mean, they clearly cut him off. He was on a pitch count. Without even being injured, he was on a pitch count because it's like, we don't necessarily need you. We want to get Sutton
Yeah.
more reps. I think if you get a heavy dose of Blake, and we may not, right? With Duck coming back, you may not get that. I just think that anytime Blake touches the ball, he has home run hit. So
I like that. I'm going to go receiver. I'm going to say Demir. Blankenship, or as Dave Voloshin calls him, Blankenschmier. He's going to be schmearing all over that field on Saturday. Given the fact that they just gave up 95% completion rate, I think our wide receivers are going to have a field day. Seems like a good night for Blankenschmier to just be shifty all over. 2 tutty kind of night out of him. Give me your defensive guy.
defensively,
It's so hard not to pick Andres Fox now after what we just saw. Is it not? Like,
I don't expect him to play
gosh,
as much.
I mean, I don't either, but he looked damn good.
I'm gonna say Davian Ross. Whoever's playing the star, if it's gonna be Coffee
Or
if it's gonna
Coffee.
be Ross, yeah.
Coffee would be a wild pick.
I'm gonna stick with Davian Ross. I think Davion Ross is gonna get the start at star, and he just is such a free floater in that space area. I really like him there.
I like it. I'm going to say Simeon Blair this week. We saw one good play, really, I feel like, out of him the other night. Didn't really get to show off a whole lot. Bethune-Cookman slinging the rock all over the place. Say he gets a pick off JT and he has himself a night.
I'm with that.
All right. Give me your score prediction. Obviously, we know the line is 21.5, and then I'm going to give you the over-under. It is 58.5.
Jeez.
You've already said you don't think we cover.
No, I don't think we do cover. I will say 40-23 Memphis.
Hanging on that 17-pointer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be like a 45, 27, 28-ish. Although I would hate giving up that many points to Arkansas State. I'm going 45-17. And I need it to be a blowout like that because I will be at a family event. My sister-in-law is getting married. They're having a couple's shower on Saturday, so I'm not going to really be able to watch. And if it's too close, I'm going to be checking my phone constantly, probably in very high stress in that environment. So I need it to be very comfortable so I can be like, all right, we're up 30. I can watch the replay later. I need it to be that. So I'm sticking. What did I just say? 45-17. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah. I think
Cover.
I said 40. 40 doesn't even make sense mathematically. 41. We'll do
We
that.
could get there.
Yeah.
All right.
41.
41. What'd you say?
Oh, shit.
41-24.
41. Yeah, we'll say 41-24 because that math works out.
All right. Any final thoughts on the you're going over there, aren't you? You're going to Jones Boogie?
Yeah. I'll be
Repping the
there.
Bluff City. Nice.
Yep.
If anybody else is there, look for Teej. I think you're going to be down there. Is this your first official photography game? Teej is going to be taking pics.
Yeah, I don't
Holler
know
at him.
what Kenny's thinking. Put me in charge of the camera, but we'll figure it out, I guess.
They better not sell Prano pups over there so you don't get a leg up on me because we're officially at 1-1
Who's to say?
on the counter. Well,
No,
you've got to
that-
log it. If you
they
have
definitely
one, you
don't.
have to log it or it doesn't count.
They don't sell them. We'll be good
All right.
there.
Good. All right. You know what time it is, Teej? We got week 2 football. It's time for Thunder picks and fade TJ. I think we're both officially 1-1 on the year. Remind me your pick last week that hit.
Oh, I said, man, now you're going to make me look it up. I really don't remember what it was. New week, new me, man. What was yours? Say yours while I go ahead and look mine up.
I threw myself on the spot too because now I don't remember mine. I just remember that mine didn't hit either.
Well, mine did hit.
Or mine did not hit. I'm 1-1.
Oh, such a good segment.
Oh, mine was the over in the Utah-Florida game, which was
Mine was Nebraska.
just atrocious. I didn't know that Florida was going to be absolutely disgusting. Yeah, you had Nebraska straight up.
Well, I had Minnesota. No, Nebraska covering is what it was.
Okay.
Should probably document this somewhere. Yeah,
All
you
right.
picked Florida, or you picked the over,
Utah,
right?
Florida over, and it did not because Florida is absolute dog water.
They don't have a quarterback.
I mean, it's disgusting. I don't know what I was doing. But I had a very good weekend parlay wise. If you're in the Discord, the little bet section over there, we got it going. All right, what's your fade TJ pick this week?
I'm gonna say Notre Dame to cover the 7.5.
Against
I think maybe
at NC State.
NC State, yeah,
It
at
is
NC State.
I've got a couple that I like. My first one, and this may just be because I am all in now on the Dion train after this weekend. They're only getting they're -3 against Nebraska at home, and that stadium is going to be packed and electric after what they just did this past weekend. Gimme Colorado in the 3. Then secondary pick, you got Utah at Baylor. Baylor just lost by 11 or 12 at home to Texas State. Utah's only 7.5-point favorites. You tell me Utah's not going to go in there and be able to win by more than Texas State? My official pick is Colorado -3. These are just extras.
Just extra.
And then the last one, Ole Miss travels down to New Orleans this weekend to take on the Green Wave at Tulane. I like that over 65. That feels like a shootout type of game to me.
Yeah.
Or if it's not and Ole Miss runs away with it, I mean, Kiffin will throw up points. They could almost probably get 65 themselves. But I think it's going to end up being like a 45-38 type of game.
Yeah, that Colorado one seems like free money, honestly. I think Vegas is still trying to figure out Colorado and who they are as a team because obviously
we'll see this weekend.
21 points.
Yeah. We'll see this weekend if the TCU game said more about Colorado or more about the TCU's not what people thought they would be coming out of a national championship run.
21 points
title
is just
game
so
run.
many, man.
It is.
So it seems like they're still trying to figure it out. I think that's one that Colorado probably wins by 2 scores. Like I couldn't have fathomed that one being that close.
I mean, I can't fathom them not winning by even just a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right? Like
NC State
at home, it's going to be electric. That place is going to be rocking.
NC State struggled for a bit against UConn. So I couldn't imagine Notre Dame loses or doesn't cover the 7.5. That's one that feels like it could be a 2-score game as well. So the fact that it's only 7.5 is interesting, but I guess Notre Dame really hasn't been tested yet. So
sure. All right, Teach, let's jump into this Goner Bra.
Goner Brow, dude.
Per
usual.
I like the record player can. It's such a good touch. Did you realize that's what that was? It's a record on a record.
Yeah, you see the little thing right there, the little needle.
Yeah.
You can't see it because the light's reflecting. I think it's a boring can per usual, even with the record player.
Really?
On there.
I think this is better than their normal. They at least added some art in here.
Yeah, it is better. It's not just lines. I still just don't care for it. I don't really understand what it is. I don't understand.
I get it. At least they're listening and they've added some. So for that, I'm going to give them a 6.4 on the can.
That's pretty high. I'm going to say like I'm
just feeling generous tonight, Timothy.
A 5.1 out of 10. It's just a boring can. It just is. Like even with the record, I don't know. I got nothing.
Wow. I liked this brew.
It's pretty good. There's something going on the back end, but it's not bad.
This is a good pills here. I would drink more than one of these, but I don't know that I'm buying a 6-pack. That makes sense.
No, it definitely makes sense. For me, it's the malt. It's got the malty flavor.
Yeah.
I don't love it. It's good, but I don't love it.
And I don't know that I would have 2 of these back to back, but this feels like, hey, I came to TJ's, he's got a cooler full. Maybe I drink one first. Maybe I hit a Sands Tiny Bomb in between, then I have another one. You know what I mean? Definitely not the best one we've had, but it's
No.
good. I'm gonna say it definitely has the malty finish. It feels like a 6-8 to me.
That's pretty good. I think a 6.8 is probably spot on, kind of where I'm at. I just realized that Goner Brow, this is Goner Records. This is like something for Goner Records. That's why there's a record playing in the back. You got the Goner on the front. I don't really know what the brow part plays into, but I bet this is for Goner Records. No, I think a 6.8 is probably spot on for the beer. It's good. I just don't want 2 of them back to back because of the amount of malt in my mouth. Like,
Have you been to Goner Fest?
I've never been to Goner Fest. I know what it is, but I've never been.
Oh, well, they
I was
said
just looking at Goner and records, so it made sense.
They brewed this recipe exclusively for the festival
Okay. I'm assuming that's a music
previously,
festival, right?
but now that music festival,
Okay.
Goner Fest. That's the only place you could get it, and then they decided to release it
Oh, nice.
so everybody could get it all year round. So
So it's kind of like
they're using a Norwegian strain of yeast, clean profile, lets out that malty hop shine through, just like we said.
yeah, it does. Yes, it does.
Ooh, enjoy it while eating a whole family size bag of chips. That is what
I
that
can do
feels
that.
perfect. Like if you had a bag of like Ruffles with these, just like classic salty Ruffles.
You're a Ruffles
That's what-
guy?
I mean, I'm not typically, but that's the vibe I'm getting. The chip that for some reason this beer is making me want to eat right now.
Interesting. I'm a real sicko. I would go with a whole bag of salt and vinegars.
Wow.
Love salt and vinegar. Built
That is salt and vinegar is a great chip, but I was just getting Ruffle vibes. All right, that'll wrap us up for episode 41. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, comment on YouTube. Head over to bluffcitymedia.co. Check out the articles. We got football season underway. Basketball is coming up. We'll have you covered in everything Bluff City sports. We will see you next week. Come on the cold beer, stay with hot takes. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Like and subscribe at Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports.